It is now day 8 of the federal government shutdown, and here's what is expected today. The Senate is expected to vote on rival proposals, each with hopes of forcing a breakthrough. Republicans are pushing that they are calling a clean continuing resolution and Democratic plan with several amendments. Meanwhile, White House officials will press their interpretation that furloughed workers are not automatically entitled to back pay unless Congress explicitly appropriates it. For the public, the hardest hit at the nation's airports, FAA facilities across the country are already short-staffed, and flight delays, congestion, and safety pressures are likely to worsen today. All right, so we're also looking at Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is breaking with her own party over health care. Now, that's one of the key items that forced this shutdown, or at least triggered the shutdown. In a long post on X, Greene said that this is becoming a personal issue, stating, quote, "When the tax credits expire this year, my own adult children's insurance premiums for 2026 are going to double, along with the wonderful families and hardworking people in my district."
Because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, as Marjorie Taylor Greene herself has acknowledged, tens of millions of people are about to experience dramatically increased health insurance costs. How is that acceptable?
All right, let's get some more perspective on this with Republican strategist and frequent panelist member on the Georgia Vote, Mark Rountree. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Chesley. Good morning.
Good morning to you. All right, let's start with the big picture here. We heard Greene's stance. It's isolated or robust, stating that the broader thinking of Republicans on the politics behind Obamacare. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think reasonable people can conclude that Obamacare has been a financial disaster for the country. It is causing premiums to rise dramatically now, and those premiums get paid either by the taxpayers or the individuals. So this is sort of taking the veil off of how expensive Obamacare has now become. It also has resulted in a lot of families not being able to get the doctors they want. So I think there is a lot of support for replacing Obamacare, maybe even among both political parties, though I don't know that Democrats would want to phrase it that way. But I think there are going to be changes over the course of the next few years in this.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I think it's what inarticulately Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying, is that this is a broken system. She doesn't have a current solution to it, which is odd because I think a lot of Republicans have proposed a lot of different options. So I think a lot of people would have liked to have seen what's her alternative other than more tax credits, but she hasn't really addressed that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How do you feel like statements like this complicate negotiations when the party is trying to project unity during the shutdown?
Well, I mean, it certainly doesn't help. She's essentially taking the role of someone that she never liked, and that is John McCain. She has taken the role of the person who walks up to the voting booth at the last minute and pushes the button no, and that was John McCain back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when Obamacare was sort of revalidated by Congress when the Republican proposal failed. Maybe it was 2014, 10 years ago. So yeah, it does complicate things, and that's true. Another odd thing about it is that for whatever reason she chose to use kind of a curse word in her X post. And I don't know how in this country we got to the point where elected officials are having to use foul language in order to convey their thoughts. There's something wrong with the culture when that is just a routine situation.
We're finding, obviously, we see the Democrats using the shutdown to demand extensions of the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Do you think Greene is helping them out with this?
Well, she is, but she's in a different case, and here's I think an important question to ask: why are her children on Obamacare when she put $400,000 into her political campaign to get elected? What is wrong with that? Something is wrong. Why are her kids on Obamacare? She had 2 houses, one in Roswell, Georgia, and one in her district. How is someone with that much wealth? Why are her family members on Obamacare, which was never intended to be a replacement for anybody except people who really needed it? So I got to question what's going on here.
Well, she's framing it as a fight between America only, and spending on foreign aid. Do you think that's going to resonate with the GOP base, or is dividing it?
Well, she continues to hit on Israel, on Muslims, on Mexicans, on Ukraine. She has all of these boogeymen, and some, there may be some genuine issues with some of these things, but to compare it to whether or not you're going to vote for just tens and tens of billions of dollars of subsidies on Obamacare is a rather, I don't know, it's kind of a stretch. I think most people looked at that and thought, what's going on here? Are you using these issues as red herrings as opposed to legitimate reasons to go in and do the real work of government? And I think people would like to see their congressmen doing the real work of government. I think a lot of conservatives are getting tired of these antics where we have people that complain a lot but don't actually do anything.
So with this statement and what's going on now, the Republicans facing that pressure to deliver on results, could this be the breaking point? Could this lead to a breaking point?
Well, I think with Republicans, the break has already happened. You will probably ultimately get a handful of Republicans supporting the extension of the tax credits so they can run back to the district and tell everybody that they stood up to Donald Trump and, you know, they're moderates and maybe politically in some of those districts, maybe New York districts, it'll be helpful. But I think most of the Republican Party has now moved definitely away from Obamacare and they want a replacement. And I think the only institution that's going to be able to actually offer a replacement is going to be the president. The president has to lead to ultimately to come up with a big picture replacement for this. Congress would have no practical way to do it. We can say all day long that it's Congress's fault, and maybe it is, but all day long. But that's 435 people in the House with 435 different plans. They're never going to centrally come up with a solution. It's going to take somebody who decides that they want to fix this problem. And right now, we don't have that.
Gotcha. All right, Mark Rountree, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for your insight today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.